Oogies-Cold here with the SlumpedOvaTop10, a video series where we get slumped and talk about music. In the case of this video, we will be discussing 10 underground grunge bands that I think that you should definitely check out. This video is recommended to me by my good friend Joshua Orland, who's also an underground artist. You can check out his video on my channel, Sayonara Sunshine, recorded by me. I also introduced him to a lot of grunge bands, as well as all my friends. Now I get to introduce some of you to some underground grunge bands, hopefully, that you've never heard of. Number 10.
I thought I found someone till she walked out of me, and I was left with nothing. I got no security. She said she likes no one, but now she's really sweet. In my book that's called something like Sunstein, and it was said still feeling nothing so much I can see.
I inserted this Jet Set Radio clip to go with the song, because when I heard Break Free, I instantly thought of Jet Set Radio, but it really didn't go with it as much as I thought. But even though I never heard this album before, it just gives me a feeling that I heard it before. We got Taz Blizzard as lead vocalist and guitarist, lead guitarist. And Taz actually died in a car accident August 1st of 2008. It's very unfortunate that he couldn't make it, but his music lives on. You can go check out his album. It is a pretty cool album. It's a more punk album, but yeah, it's pretty good. But they do have some songs that I don't like on it, like "What's Your Scene?" Is It True? Which isn't terrible, but drags on way too long. And Wall is a pretty pointless track. 6 out of 10. That's what I give this. Got Scott Dillon slapping the bass, and we got Mark Davison smacking the drummies. Number 9.
No emotion is nothing that's real, but the hum of the engine in your grip on the wheel. Cold and calculated.
At number 9, we got the Oogies Feedback is an Act of God. This album is heavy as fuck, obviously more on the metal side of its grunge influences, and it even shows its punk influences throughout the record, especially on New York's Alright, where it talks about how New York is kind of nasty, and how it kind of smells like piss, and very humorously does so. Mark Gramler, like I said, has some gnarly screams, fucking throat-popping vocals. Screams are nasty. Like showed on Cold and Calculated, shown in the clip, and really throughout the whole entire record, and is what stands out the most of this album, and is why I give it the 6 out of 10, because it's the only thing that really stands out. Number 8.
Days like this seem out of time. Rooms are empty and so am I. I'm sad and I don't know why. So I lay back on the couch, turn the TV on, let the phone ring. There's nobody I wanna talk to. Anyway, when your day's gone and your faith's gone, and there's no more where that came from.
Sweetwater self-titled is my number 8 spot. This one is definitely a softer one on the list. It's one that's easy to listen to if you get into the grunge scene, because it's alternative rock with grunge influences. Definitely shows that it has grungy influences through its dark, atmospheric, and anxious writing style that sounds like a plea for help, which grunge music often does. Adam Sizzler is the lead vocalist of the band. The album has some excellent guitar riffs from Rich Credo as well, some guitar playing and bass playing from Cole Peterson, and we also have Paul Uller on percussion. All band members are credited for being producers. I don't know about that, but Don Gilmore is alongside with them as master and engineer slash producer of the record. And he's also worked with Eve 6, Lit, Good Charlotte, and Sugar Ray. 7 out of 10. Number 7. Porn Orchard, Name Your Regions, is number 7. I first heard of this band through, I guess, impersonating Tom Waits and Peter Murphy. It's a very impressive impersonation if they're really impersonating it. I don't know, some people are saying it's the band and some people are saying it's really Tom Waits and Peter Murphy. He really does sound like Tom Waits if that is him, though. If that's them, I mean. But that's a very clever anti-Christmas song called Christmas Sucks. Check that out. But that don't matter. That's besides the point. This album, though, is a must listen if you're a grunge or math rock fan, because this album has complex guitar riffs from Curtis Piernis, clever bass lines from Ted Haffer, who's also the vocalist, and then we have Sam Mixon, who's an incredible drummer. This record definitely deserves to go far, and yet here we are in my underground grunge. Yes. Number 6. This album is only 6 tracks long, very short, shortest out of all these albums on this list, but I was so refreshed stumbling upon this album and looking for underground grunge bands. I didn't mind the fact that it was just 6 tracks long, because each track was great with funky ass bass lines from Al Tompkins, Peter Lipman, vocalist of Daddy Hatebox and Coffin Break, and Joe Boy got sound pipes, Steve Wade, I think that's how you say that, from Tad is the drummer, and David Goff was the guitarist. From start to finish, this band just grooves through each track. Very pleased to find this album. You will be pleased as well. It takes no time to listen to it, only 6 tracks long. Definitely check it out. Tell me what you think. 8 out of 10. The top 5. So this next album is from Arkansas grunge band Lollygadget, and I'm just going to let them introduce themselves in this clip right now.
What's your name and what you do in the band?
I'm Trey and I play guitar.
I'm Eric and I play drums and in charge of t-shirt distribution.
I'm Greg and I play bass.
I'm Dennis, the vocal king.
The master.
The daddy man.
I'm Harold, I play guitar. How long?
Thanks for making my life easy. When I first heard this album, I was instantly intrigued by Dennis Couch's the vocal king's voice. Your boy got some pipes. I heard him in Wrong Escalator and I instantly knew that I had to listen to the whole album even though I was tired of flipping through albums. But I thought I had to listen to one more, so I intended to listen to 10 tracks, saving 7, because it's a long ass album. But I ended up listening to all 17 tracks, each recording, 8 out of 10. Number 4. Another one that is a must listen to for grunge lovers is the album Giftless by the band Thrillhammer. This features some dirty vocals and guitar playing from Pete Krebs, Ben Munnett on bass, and David Trebweiser is one hell of a drummer. Bad Trip is probably my favorite track in the album because it really does put the listener in the vibe of having a bad trip. I really love this one, but Margaret is featured instead, obviously, because I wanted to edit a clip of Mordecai because of Margaret. But this is a fantastic grunge album. It can get dark, as you should expect from grunge. It usually does do this. It's usually dark. It's usually kind of edgy. That's kind of the point. This album shows that pretty well. It's just pure grunge music, just like you like it, baby boy. 9 out of 10. Number 3.
Folding sheets tonight, my colored room and my pictures hide the painted stories I've tried to write. Finding out it just ain't right. Inside the colored walls, I feel the things I do for you, as I try to hide. I'll be there waiting.
This was the first album that I listened to in making this list, and it instantly fueled my excitement because I realized the similarities between Thread's Everyday Grace and Alice in Chains' Drawer of Flies. Alice in Chains is probably one of the best grunge bands ever, and the fact that they sound like Alice in Chains is just fucking amazing. This album is a masterpiece and would have been rated higher if it didn't sound so much like Drawer of Flies. Each album has these dark atmospheric tracks with random entries of melodic tracks like Don't Follow. Drift on Everyday Grace would be an example of what Don't Follow is on Drawer of Flies. The albums both show emotion throughout the tracks, but then they have these tracks which just separate themselves from the entire album and could have just been their own thing or could have just been in a different project. They're just different. I absolutely love Everyday Grace, and if you enjoy Drawer of Flies or if you just like Alice in Chains, you would definitely like Thread too. The instrumentation was phenomenal on this record as well. They even had some saxophone playing from Robert Furling in the track Message, and some flute playing from him as well, alongside with Ann Rylander, which sounds amazing on the lighter tracks. Scott Stoltz on bass, Brian Jackson on drums, and Rocky Poland is, I believe, the vocalist, but he's for sure the lead guitarist. 9 out of 10. Number 2. Classic rock, grunge, and alternative lovers will all feel at home listening to Solomon Grundy's self-titled album. From start to finish, this album is just masterful. Van Conner, lead vocalist of Solomon, has also been in Screaming Trees, OG grunge band formed in 1985. The legendary singer Mark Lanigan, who has also been in Mad Season with Lane Staley of Alice in Chains. Fucking amazing. Lee McCulley as the guitarist, Jim King on the bass, and Sean Holliester smacking up the drums. This album will satisfy any ear looking for a good grunge album that won't overwhelm them, and another good one to get started on, and a 10 out of 10. Number 1. Woo! Let's go. Choosing my top 5 for this list was very difficult. Not as difficult as choosing which songs to sample for my number 1 entry. Grunge music is not dead. Some of these albums have band members that have passed away. Some of them have gone to different projects. All of these albums, for whatever reason, didn't make it. But this one has a chance. I definitely want you to go listen to it. My number 1 entry is...
I'm a washed up empty shell, blind from an ocean left to dwell. The only one who sees me in this light. What can I ever be? Just one you like. Blue as the sea I derive from.
Now I chose this track to sample, but really,
I don't know. Leave you in the dust, I don't know.
in this clip I'm going to just show myself reading my YouTube comment that I've sent to Lever to get their band names. I'm about to read my comment, but before I do that, go subscribe to Lever. They subscribed to me, return the favor. They're fucking amazing, and they responded. So if you want to talk to them, they'll probably respond to you. I didn't think they was gonna respond to me. They did. Here's my comment right here, though. I'm about to talk about this in a minute. So, I am making a top 10 underground grunge bands list soon. I'm so pleased to find a recent band that is fucking phenomenal. Huge Smashing Pumpkins fan, can hear the influences, like how the songs are structured and the overall sound. Also hear some strong resemblance vocally to Tommy Walter, lead singer of Abandoned Pools, which is one of my favorite bands also. Go listen to Humanistic. Complex guitar riffs, horror groove and bass lines, and slapping the hats with a piercing voice like Tommy Walters that is just euphonious. Absolute smacker, 9 out of 10. Lever, I would love to get to know your band members. Kind of stalker getting your names. And then they respond, hey, thank you so much, this all means a lot. We are John Babin, lead vocalist and guitarist, Jeff Aquano, guitarist, backup vocals, gnarly fucking screams right there, Brandon Erker, bass player, and Michael Renhold, drummer, which I'll talk about him in a minute too. Feel free to hit us up at leverband@gmail.com. I will put all their information in the description. Hit them right. I listened to this album the most out of all of these albums, especially after the YouTube comment, because I had to go listen to it again and just see how amazing they really are. And it just blows my mind that they responded to me. Even though they're underground as fuck, they definitely deserve a lot more attention, and they definitely are phenomenal. This album is a 10 out of 10. It's fucking amazing. You can hear the Smashing Pumpkins influences straight from Heavy Waves, which is why I featured it. Smashing Pumpkins is one of my favorite bands ever, so the fact that I'm saying that should be very pleasing to them. And the track instantly got me interested in the band. Definitely had to listen to the whole album. I'm truly shocked that this album doesn't have more viewers. Like, this definitely needs more attention. As mentioned in my YouTube comment, I can also hear some resemblance to Tommy Walter, lead singer of Abandoned Pools, and John Babin's voice. Definitely a compliment too. It's like a nasally kind of voice that is still pleasing to the ear. Fucking love it. They definitely do sound alike, but they definitely shine as their own more than like Thread. Just to say, because Thread is too much like Alice in Chains, whereas you can just hear the influences of this band. They're still their own thing. They're still fucking clever. They're amazing. I'm definitely excited that they commented on me, and if they watch this, I hope that they're glad that they're in there. Anyway, we got Michael Renhold as the drummer, and I'm assuming that he's inspired by Jimmy Chamberlain, because he's a fucking groove machine as well. I already named all of them because of the YouTube comment, but some highlights from the album would be Codename Killer, Don't Wait For Me, Story Unfold, which is pretty unique, Fall, Young and Poor, and Walking Disease. It's pretty much the whole album. 10 out of 10. Go check that shit out.